even as we see collateral in terms of other countries that seem to be bearing the brunt. The direct fight between Israel and Iran will continue, and the latest, in fact, we're seeing is something that's coming in from Tel Aviv, where smoke seems to be rising in. There are injuries in Beit Shemesh that have been reported as well. There was a direct hit in Tel Aviv. That's the latest that we are gathering as far as attacks of Iran on Israel are concerned. These are all drones, missiles that are being fired from the Iranian side into Israel. There are several cities in Israel that seem to be particularly targeted by Iran. Ras Al Ain is one of them, Tel Aviv and Beit Shemesh, which was also targeted 2 days ago, where 9 civilians were killed. That's another piece of information that is now just trickling in. To get a sense of what exactly is transpiring, I believe Aman Sharma is also now joining us, getting us more inputs of what exactly is transpiring in the region.
Well, Poonam, what we have right now is a detailed statement being issued by India, the Ministry of External Affairs issuing a detailed statement on the conflict that is happening. The MEA is now saying that unfortunately in the holy month of Ramadan, the situation in the entire Middle East region has deteriorated significantly and continuously. India is also reiterating that it is most concerned about the safety of Indians who live in the Middle East. Nearly 8 million people of Indian origin live in the Middle East. It is Indian statement is saying that the deaths and the destruction have mounted even as normal life and economic activities have come to a halt. As a proximate neighbor with critical stakes in the security and stability of the region, these developments evoke great anxiety. This is what Indian government is now saying. There are almost 1 crore Indian citizens who live and work in the Gulf region. Their safety and well-being is of utmost priority. We cannot be impervious to any development that negatively affects them. That is what the Indian government is saying. No outright condemnation yet of Khamenei's killing, but the Indian government is very clear, Rahul, on what they are saying now.
Well, the priorities are very clear. We have to safeguard our interests. The Khamenei matter, I think, has been left aside, and we've already sort of spoken and expressed our deep concern. But the point is, from oil to remittances, India is exposed. And I had put out some facts a little while back, and I'm going to read some of them to you. India imports 90% of its crude oil, as we know. So we are also highly sensitive to West Asian disruptions because, as you know, from West Asia, 51% of the supply comes in. Russia has the next 20%. Strait of Hormuz is now choked, so we're fearing that we're going to have problems on that front. LNG, as you know, is not coming out of one of the biggest LNG producers in the world.
Interestingly, so Rahul, they mentioned that in the statement as well. India is saying that our trade and energy supply chains also traverse this geography. Any major disruption has serious consequences for the Indian economy. As a country whose nationals are prominent in the global workforce, India is also firmly opposed to attacks on merchant shipping. So India is clearly saying its economy could have serious consequences if the Straits of Hormuz remains blocked.
Absolutely, because look, right now we are pulling ahead. As you know, the GDP numbers were released just about 3 or 4 days ago. And you saw that the projections for the next year have also been increased. I know this is a new series, but nonetheless, we are looking at an upside. And suddenly you have this disruptive war, which is going to throw all those calculations once again out of the window. Then there is the question that you were talking about, which is the remittance economy, which is from the diaspora. What are we talking about? 1 crore Indians that live and work in GCC countries, in which UAE alone is 43 lakhs. So 43 lakhs, which is 39% of the population, 4 out of 10 are living in just the UAE. And if you break it down beyond that, Saudi Arabia is 2.7 million, so 27 lakhs. Kuwait is 1 million, that's 10 lakhs. Qatar is just under that, that's about 8 lakhs. And where are these sectors that they're employed in? These are construction, hospitality, healthcare, services. And all of these, by the way, are locked down in the UAE because of these drone attacks that have come through. So it's also India that is going to start facing the problem. And then, of course, there is the trade and business link that is also referred to in this statement.
Absolutely. I think the Indian government, by its statement, is making it very clear that India does not want any impact on its economy. It wants Indian citizens to be safe, and that is why it's reiterating.
$57 billion of our exports go to the GCC. And we are talking about perishable goods. A lot of our food, etc., goes there, and that becomes problematic. When you really look at it from that perspective, our entire focus right now is to boost our exports and find markets for our exports. That's why we've just signed, as you know, a trade agreement with a couple of Gulf countries also. And the Prime Minister is working with the government to try and forge other agreements with other countries. We've just had the Canadians here, and the Canadians have said by the year end, we're going to have a free trade agreement. We've had it with the UK and the EU. So we are moving quickly. We're also negotiating with the United States, but look at this.
Clearly, and that is why India is again reiterating its call for dialogue and diplomacy. The MES statement saying we raise our voice clearly in the favor of an early end to the conflict. Many lives have been regrettably lost, and we express our grief in that regard. So I think the MES statement clearly putting the record straight on what really India's priorities are. And in the morning we saw Sonia Gandhi write a piece, asking India why it was not, condemning Khamenei's death. But I think Indian government has made its priorities very clear through this long and detailed statement.
She said silence was abdication. Without actually in any way taking position, I just want to state some facts before I bring in both Griha and Poonam. The facts are that even the UPA in its time did not take a position, for example, when Gaddafi was ousted by, again, a regime change operation.
Or when Saddam Hussein was assassinated.
Saddam Hussein was assassinated, hung actually. He was captured and then hung. Or even when you've had regime change in other quarters of the world. So there is a little bit of hypocrisy there, and clearly it's born out of a sense of political compulsion.